So I'm really just kind of archiving my little makeshift orchard in my property here in central Arkansas, just so I have a record of what's going on with it. I'm going to start out with my well, actually, I'm probably going to go pretty random because that's just the way I fly. So right here, this is my property, or part of my property. There's the road. I guess I should start at this end. So I've got 4 chestnut trees that I planted, I believe, in 2019, and I got these from Burnt Ridge Nursery. Over here I've got some Jefferson hazelnut. The big ones are Jeffersons. The smaller ones are American hazelnuts. I've got some figs, and I have no idea what kind of figs these are. These are just cuttings that I got. So I'm just going to talk about them as I go through, and really just to remind me later, because I'm trying to get an account for what each of my trees are doing. So this is a sawtooth oak. I think I planted it in 2018. I've got a bunch of these. I basically planted all these for deer. So this tree right here, I don't think it gets good sun. I don't think it gets good water. It's not nearly as big as the other trees. Last year it got probably 30 or 40 burrs on it, and none of them produced. I don't think I got a single good nut off of it. The tree almost died because we had a dry summer. I do have it irrigated and watered it just like I watered the other ones, but it really just didn't produce. So this fig has never really got very many figs on it. It's doing great this year. The only thing, I've never fertilized them. The only thing I did differently this year is I got some cuttings off of my fig trees for my sister and rooted them, and all of the fig trees that I pruned off for cuttings have been producing a lot of figs this year. So I have no idea if that's what caused it, but I'm I'm gonna do it again. So this is American. Most of these, the Jeffersons, I think I planted in 2019. I actually got seeds from Burnt Ridge, and I stratified them in a big pile of horse dung, and planted them the next spring. So basically all the big ones are Jeffersons, and most of the small ones are American. Some of the bigger ones are American. They just shot up for some reason. I've only got one nut off of any of these bushes, and I've got quite a few this year. And as I go past it, I don't see any. Oh yeah, here's some off this is a Jefferson, and that's what I've got going on with Jefferson. And the Jeffersons, I don't have very many nuts. I've actually got an American, and this is a Jefferson, and you probably can't see it because it's too big. It's probably 12 foot tall. Yeah. So I don't think that one has any. I've got a really small American chestnut or hazelnut that's got lots of them. So this tree is my second tree. Down there is my first of my Chinese chestnuts. This one didn't get any nuts until last year, and I got maybe 15 nuts off of it. Bigger nuts, probably quarter size, and really, really sweet. So it's got quite a few more nuts on it than it did last year, so I'm pretty pumped about that. This is another, I can't remember if that's American or Jefferson. Here's one of my American, and the chestnuts or the hazelnuts are a lot different. It's got the little covering around it. This one has a bunch of them. It's not a very big bush either. So this has been my big producer. It got some sun scald. It's first year out. Here's another of my American hazels, and it's got really quite a few. I got a big nasty sun scald right there, and that came out of it that spring, and I decided to go ahead and leave that. There was probably 8 or 10 more, and I cut most of those off. I left this one because it was the biggest one, and I figured if the tree died, then I would have that side. Anyway, this limb right here is a graft off of a tree at the University of the Ozarks, or College of the Ozarks, whatever, Clarksville, Arkansas, makes a super, super sweet nut. And that right there is my lone successful graft. I seem to suck at grafting chestnuts. Another American hazel, I can't see if they have any nuts. Oh, this one's got some. I don't see any on that one. Another American hazel. This tree right here, I had a successful graft right here, and I mean, it was, there's the stick from it. It's about 3 foot long. I guess a bird or a squirrel climbed on it and broke it off about a week ago. Tragic. This tree has always had tons of male flowers on it. I've never got a single nut off of this one, and it is loaded with them this year. I'm excited about that. I have no idea what they're going to be like. I don't know if I said this already. That tree is my big producer, or has been. This one may turn into my big producer. The nuts on that one aren't nearly as sweet as that one that I got nuts off last year for the first time. This one's been producing since it was about 3 years old. Nuts are a little bit smaller, not quite as sweet, but it does give me a lot of nuts. I got about a gallon of nuts off of that tree last year. This one, holy cow, I'm really excited to see what these are going to taste like, because this tree is 8 years old, it's never got a single nut. If you see the bottom of it, it got root rot. Well, it may have been sun scald or root rot, I don't know, but it pretty much just died off the first year, and it came back. That may be why I've not got any nuts. It did the same thing that tree did, but it was a lot worse. That I actually thought the tree was dead, and then it kind of came back, and I've cut some of the shoots off of it, but I think I'm probably going to use this one shoot for grafts, but the rest of them I'm probably going to just leave because it's producing so many nuts now. This is a chokeberry. Actually, it's chokeberry and some hazelnut and a bunch of mess. This tree right here is crazy. So this tree I planted in 23 or 24. This is July of 26. It's got 3 burrs, 4, maybe 5 burrs up there, and you can see how tall it is. I'm gonna guess it's probably 15, 16 feet tall. It's actually taller than my 8-year-old trees. Maybe not as tall as that third one. And it's only 3 years old. Pumped up about that. And I'm going to take you back over here to this big nasty brush pile. I left this here to protect these trees. These are pawpaws. I've not got any fruit off of them yet. Also got a bunch of just brush in here. And I think as big as these trees are, because I've got one that one's probably 10 foot tall. I'm probably going to go ahead and cut this brush out. I left it there. There's a second pawpaw, or a third pawpaw right there. It's probably maybe 6 foot tall. And then there's a fourth one down here through the brush a bit. I'm not even sure you can see it in there. Nah, yeah, there it is. Maybe. Nope, I can't see it, but there's a fourth one down there. And I'm going to clean out this probably this winter so those pawpaws can grow a little bit faster. All right, so here's the main part of my messy orchard. So the rest of these trees were planted by seed in 2022 or 3. I don't really remember. And most of these are seeds from the University of Missouri or Missouri Wildlife or whatever. And they're the Qing, Q-I-N-G, peach and core trees. Some of these, there's a few that got root rot and what do you call the little beetles that get in them. And I cut those down completely to the ground and let them re-sprout. One didn't re-sprout, and so I planted something different there. I've actually got several different things in this little area. There's one of my, we'll call them QKPs, right there. There's a sawtooth oak, and I planted it the same year as I planted the other one. And I actually have some huge sawtooth oaks that were all planted the same year. This area until 2000, let's see, January of 23, this was all pine forest that you can see how thick that is back in there. This was all basically the same thing. I had somebody cut out the trees. I didn't have the stumps ground or anything. I'm just letting the stumps rot, and I knock them down as they rot out, and my tractor can do it. So anyway, that tree right there, no burrs ever. Had catkins this year. This one right here has, I think it's got 1 or 2 burrs, and it's probably 10 or 12, maybe 12 foot tall. There's a good sized burr. This is another sawtooth oak, and I'm just letting it run wild. This tree right here, you can see I've been stretching my irrigation, and I actually cutting out that. This was a big bushy chestnut. Some of the limbs died back, and honestly, some of the limbs broke. So it's, but I've left it. It's got a good sized trunk, and it's kind of going bush form, and I'm just kind of letting it. Some of these trees I'm pruning back and trying to get a good tree form. Some I'm just letting run wild. This area over here, it had some big stumps in it, so I've not been able to maintain it the way I'd really like to because of the big stumps. Some of them rotted out, and I was able to knock them down with my tractor, I think 2 or 3 days ago. So I went ahead and mowed around where the stumps were. This one had catkins, no burrs at all. That one had catkins, no burrs. There's my beehives. I've got a buddy who does bees, and he brings his beehives. This tree right here is one of the ones that ambrosia beetles, that's what I was thinking. This is one that died back, and I cut everything off except for one sucker and let it grow, and it's got some more suckers this year. And this was all covered by brush until a few days ago, so I haven't pruned that one any. This one, and I wish I knew which I had. It's either peach ching or core. This one's got about 8 or 10 burrs. I don't remember how many. And it sprouted up a little bit, and I'm going to probably cut those sprouts off this fall. This is another one that died back, and if you can see, it looks like it's got some sun scald this year too. So this one died back completely a year before last, and apparently got sun scald again, and I'm not sure that this will live, but that's why I'm leaving those 2 sprouts, because I don't know that one's going to live. There's another sawtooth oak, and there's another sawtooth oak, and this is another tree that died back, and I cut all but 2 of the suckers out of it, or I guess maybe 3, and I'm probably just going to let that one go. And this one didn't have any. This one had catkins, no burrs. This right here, I can't remember what it is. So I've got some trees that I planted, actually planted last fall. This is one of them. I've got seeds from a local tree that's about 80 years old that is huge and has super big nuts, and they're crazy sweet. This may be one of those, and it may also be a Henry hybrid. I got a friend on a Facebook forum that gave me some Henry hybrid seeds, and I planted some. If so, this tree, if you remember the one that I said I was so proud of that was so huge, this tree was planted the same exact day that tree was. So you can see how excited I am about that one. All right, so there is another of my PKQs that died back, and it actually died back again last year. Had ambrosia beetles on it. If you can see, that is another one of my great failed grafts, and that right there was all that I had this spring, and I've got this much growth out of it this spring, so I'm leaving that. That's a plum tree, and I've just decided to put some stuff in here. There's another one of my PKQs, and I've got this theory, and I may be wrong. any leaves, any energy going to my roots, I'm going to leave until the fall, and I will prune that stuff off in the fall. All right, this is another. So we had actually when I this is where my brush pile was, where I burned, and so this is pretty rough here. This tree, actually several trees over here were killed by that, and that one fell. I guess maybe last night we had a storm. This is another PKQ. It was another bush form tree. A part of it died back, so I'm just leaving it. There's another sawtooth oak. This right here is either my Henry or my local tree. Probably going to tie that up when I get done doing this video to make it straighter. That was actually, this is planted this year. Actually, I think that last one was planted this year too, or maybe last fall. This one was definitely planted this spring. And this is either my local tree or my Henry. I'll probably Google that and ask ChatGPT whatever kind of tree that is. But anyway, that's why I'm doing this video, just so I can keep track of these things. Actually planted a little, I can't remember what kind, sanguine or sage, something or other like that, and it died, so I replanted right there. Another sawtooth oak, I think that's the same one, and this is from the same batch that tree was from, and it was probably, I don't know, 18 inches tall at the beginning of the year. There's that one. So you can see how thick my pine forest is. I've got about another 2 acres of pine forest that goes down this hill. So down here, I've got, this just in the brush and the brambles. I believe these are Jerusalem artichokes. The deer keep them eaten down pretty well. Here's some muscadines. I don't think I've got yeah, I do. So I've got one of last year's. There's one of last year's seedlings down in there. I should probably weed eat down there. Blackberries. All right, so I'm going down the next 2 rows. That's one of last year's. I bought some, by the way, I bought some blackberries from Walmart and some thornless, the Navajo, Arapaho, Natchez, and whatever. They all died. So that's that. Here's another one of my last year's seedlings. These are from the local tree down south of Perrin, Arkansas. Talked to a chestnut guy somewhere, I can't remember where, and he said they may actually be interested in this tree because just because it's 80 years old, and they said that was big. So this is a scuppernong. It's a gold colored muscadine bush or vine, and I've got some under rocks that I'm rooting for some friends and my sister. These are, what are these? These are AU buck seeds that I got from a guy 2 years ago. I've planted a few of those. Some of these trees that you've seen may be this AU buck, and I actually know that these are the AU bucks because I remember which tub it was in. So I guess I could compare leaves and stuff. I get Google to do that. Another sawtooth oak, and this is a red delicious apple. This chunk of nastiness here has a pretty big stump inside it. Basically everything that you see that's all brushy and gross looking has stumps in it, and I can't quite get them out yet. This is some kind of apricot tree. Planted that last summer maybe. Another apple tree. I believe this is a Gala apple, if I remember right. Gala apple, yep. And another sawtooth oak. Another of my PKQ trees. This one was another one that rotted out and got ambrosia beetles. Cut this down to 2 of the biggest suckers, and it seems to be doing good. Another sawtooth oak. By the way, all these sawtooth oaks, and you're going to see one in my front yard that's going to be maybe impressive. Anyway, they were all planted the very same day. So, give you an idea, This is another one that died back from ambrosia beetles. I cut it down to one sucker. It's done pretty good, and like I said before, I'll cut those out. So this tree right here is the same age as that tree right there. It's just amazing how much bigger it is, and they're only 25, 30 feet apart. Another sawtooth oak. This one died back from ambrosia beetles, or from probably root rot, and I cut it back to one sucker, and it's done that. It's odd how some of these just have done great and some of them not so much. There's just a wild red oak. This is a red oak that I actually told the guy cut the tree not to cut, and so he went ahead and cut every single tree when I actually marked the trees I didn't want him to cut. So if you ever get somebody to cut trees and you don't want them to cut something, probably need to be out there. This is another one that died back, and I cut it to just one sucker because I had one that was bigger than all the rest. It's probably 7 foot tall, maybe. This is another sawtooth oak, and I'll explain my sawtooth oaks here in a minute. This is another sawtooth oak, another one that died back, and I'm kind of experimenting. Some of them I just let run wild, some of them I'm pruning down to one. Down here, oh bless its heart, I've got a Fuyu persimmon tree, and it grows great and then dies and grows great and dies, and kind of a cycle. Here's a Fuyu that I got from a local nursery, and I actually didn't think it would live because they called it a bare root tree, but it was just a stump at the bottom. But I planted it and hoped for the best, and I mean, it's actually doing better than I expected it would do, but still not doing great. I've got another one just like it over here. I'll show it to you in a sec. Another red oak that wasn't supposed to be cut down, but it was. This is my last year's seeds. So I want to say this is probably their third year of growth. I think I planted them as seeds and put them in the ground last year, and then this is their third growing season, including the year that I planted seeds. Some blackberries. See if they're any good. Blackberries aren't really sweet. Nope, pretty tart. Here's one of my either the local tree or the Henrys, not the Henrys. Yeah, this is either a local or Henry. This one didn't die back. I accidentally mowed over it a couple years ago. Yeah, and oops. Here's another one of those Fuyu persimmons. Same deal. There was just a stump at the bottom, no root hairs, no nothing. Just looked like you just cut a stick off. Anyway, didn't expect anything out of it, and it seems to still be alive, so not complaining. Over here, I've got some blueberries up here. This blueberry was actually it was doing really, really good. And I came out here one day and it was just down to the ground, ripped all the shreds, whatever it was, got all the berries off of it and just tore the snot out of it. There's probably about 6 limbs that tall, and came out one morning and everything was gone. Anyhow, here's another one of my either locals or Henrys. I'm not sure what that is. Got a little yellow. Don't really know what to do with that. I don't think it needs water because we've been getting good rain. And then down here in the goldenrods, I have another. Just really hadn't, it's been hot. I haven't weed eated. Not making excuses. I guess that's kind of an excuse. Over here, I planted some chinky pins. I had them in pots, and somebody said to go ahead and put them in the ground. Bad idea. They all died. They were doing great in the pots. Don't listen to people. Up here, I have 3 peach trees and 2 more hazelnut trees. So there's my house. This tree, I don't know. It's like every time I prune it, it does something weird. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an arborist. So this is 2 Jefferson hazelnuts here. Not a single nut off of them ever. This is actually where my big pile of horse manure was, and I'm guessing they got some good fertilizer off of them because they are huge, maybe 16 feet tall. It's a Vandelay cherry. I usually get tons of cherries off of them, decide that I want to pick them, and then the birds get all of them before I pick anything. So this right here, this sawtooth oak was planted the same day that all of the other sawtooth oaks were picked or planted. It's just huge. Got acorns off of it for 2 or 3 years. There's another one that was planted the same day. It was planted under a pretty big pine tree, so it didn't really grow. Cut the pine tree down, actually 2023. Actually, no, I cut that pine tree down during COVID because I just started cutting trees down because I was stuck at home. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to go down to another part of my property. Okay, so I'm at a different part of my property, about 100 yards from where I was. I actually live on the side of a hill, and the place where my other trees were was kind of a flat spot. It's where we built our house. Got some American persimmons that I planted a couple years ago. They're doing okay. Haven't got any persimmons off of them. I have some odd chestnut things going on here. So this is a Dunstan that I got at Walmart. They were selling out. Actually, they weren't selling out. They had like 5 left. And it was, I think it was like in June or July. And I just went to the manager and said, hey, I've been watching these trees. Nobody's buying them. I'll give you $10 a piece. And he said, okay. And I bought all of them. So there's one of them. So this tree right here was planted about 2 months before this Dunstan was planted. I watered it probably twice a week. It's actually one of my oldest trees. It's old. It's a year older than the ones up on the hill that have been producing for several years. It's not growing. Another sawtooth oak, planted, I think the year before. I think it was the year before I planted these chestnuts. So here's another chestnut, same variety. I actually got them off of a grower. I'm not going to mention the name because the guy's really nice and he grows good trees. Apparently they just don't like my area. Another sawtooth oak, probably pushing 16, 18 feet. Was planted maybe the fall before these were, maybe the January. This right here is either one of those local Clarksville trees or a Henry hybrid. I don't know which one. Doesn't get a lot of sun, but it's doing okay. Some white oaks, red oak. So there is another one of my trees from the grower that I was talking about. So that the last one, the bigger one, got 2 or 3 nuts off of them last year. They were okay. They weren't really impressive. This is one of my Dunstans. It died back from probably root rot, but it had ambrosia beetles, so I just cut it down and burned it. It's grown back. I've tried to graft it, and like I said, I'm not very good at grafting. Another sawtooth oak, probably maybe 16, 18 feet tall. Doing pretty good. I've got another local or Henry chestnut right there. It's actually died back 2 or 3 times, so I'm not expecting a whole lot out of it. There's another sawtooth oak. Then I'm going to pause it until I get to my bottom. Okay, now we're down at the bottom of our property. Got a deer stand that I built up there, and that's just for bow hunting. My neighbor's house is actually right there. Corn feeder. I don't feed in the summertime, but I do have it there. These are pawpaws that I grew from seeds, and I planted these a year before I got those that I showed you up on top of the hill. Another pawpaw. I think that may be a dogwood. And then I've got 2 more pawpaws here. And I think 1 or 2 over here. And these, honestly, I don't do anything with. I just, I planted them and they don't get much sun at all. You can see the pretty good canopy up there, deer stand. So I really kind of just hope for the best. So this tree, this is a sleeping giant tree. And this was actually planted the same year that the chestnuts from Burnt Ridge, ones that are producing. I've never got any nuts off this. It's had it's had a burr once or twice, but no nuts. It's actually, so this plant was a 3-foot yearling seedling. It grew to about 6 foot the first year, and that was before I had a little cage around it. Deer ate it down to about 18 inches. And then the next year it shot up to about 10 feet. It's probably maybe 18 feet tall. And I think it's had burrs twice, but it's never had any nuts on it. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll get some nuts soon. It may be, I don't know if it's sun, or you can see it's kind of blocked off by the sun. It doesn't get it all day long. And maybe why it's growing so tall. Another fig tree. This one, it's kind of hit or miss. This year's miss. This is a Henry hybrid. I had another one of the local, the grower that I said that his trees didn't like my area, and it died, and I planted this Henry there 2 years ago. It died back, and just been letting it run wild because it's down here on the bottoms. I don't know if I want to prune that or just let it run wild. I've got some hazelnuts down here. Most of what I've got down here is my sawtooth oak trees. And I'm pretty sure I planted them in 2018. Here's another Henry hybrid. Doesn't get a lot of sun. Probably cut this stuff out this summer and give it some more sun. This is an apple tree that my sister-in-law planted from a seed. I liked the color, so I planted it. It was about 5 foot tall last year, and my neighbor weed eated it down. He's a nice guy. I didn't get upset, but I did tie a ribbon around it to keep him from cutting it down. And I'm actually, it's like 2 feet onto my property line. So I planted these trees right on the property line. Probably would have planted them 5-10 feet off if I'd or maybe even just not had this row had I known what they would be like. So as I go down here, so these are all sawtooth oaks, and they're not quite, actually that one may be as big as one in my yard. But I actually planted them down here for wildlife to get the deer in here. Another American chestnut or hazelnut. This is this is a seedling off of that Clarksville tree. Probably need to water it some. I think there's another hazel in there. So anyway, I planted these really to get the deer coming in, and they've really started producing a lot of acorns. Not shot any deer off of them, just cause I haven't. Another hazel, yeah, I'm pretty sure I planted these in 2018. So I guess they're 8 years old, and pretty solid trees. Another hazelnut, I think. Yep. And then over here is another Henry hybrid. I actually thought this died, and it was actually last fall. I put this cage around it because something kept eating it down, and then it's done this just this spring since January. It was actually below that little cage in January. So if that grows pretty good and starts producing nuts, I'm probably going to cut that tree down and cut that one down. Another good sized sawtooth oak. This one may be as big as one in my yard. And then over here is my red mulberry tree that they say are supposed to start producing mulberries in a year or two. And it's 4 years old and I've never got a mulberry off of it. So yeah, whatever. All right, and down to the last part of my property. Actually not very far from where I was. So this power line is actually my property line between me and my neighbor. And we've lived in this place for 15 years. My first neighbor was great, awesome guy. We were very cooperative with each other. He sold the house to a guy who, not saying he wasn't a nice guy, he just didn't want me on his property at all. Anyway, I've got a tractor, and none of my other neighbors have had a tractor. And more hazelnuts. When the new guy moved in, I asked him about clearing this area off and the next one that we're going, because it was just covered in brush. Because I thought it'd be a great little walking trail, which turns out it really is, except for this area. This washed out and I can't get my mower down here, and I'm too fat and old to weed eat. But anyhow, he was kind of, he didn't want me on his property. He sold the house to another guy, and we're actually on the fourth owner now. And they've been very, very nice guys. And anyway, I mow this area. Like I said, the right side of the power line is my property. The left side is his. That right there, the hill is too steep and it's got huge boulders on it, and I can't get my mower or tractor down it safely, so I leave that wild. And I mow this. I mow this for me and my neighbor. Nice guy, nice wife, got good kids, good neighbors. Another pawpaw tree right on the power line, and I got some little bitty tiny pawpaws, and we had a dry summer or a dry winter or the dry spring, and so they dropped off. So this is a American persimmon tree, and haven't got any persimmons off of it, but I'm pretty pumped about that. And I've got another one of the PKQ chestnuts right there, and it's on my neighbor's property. I asked him if I could plant it there, and he was cool with it. And I've since given him probably a half dozen or so other chestnuts to plant on his property. Up there in the brush somewhere, I've got some more of the Jerusalem artichokes, and I've got a few hazelnuts up in there. Don't really remember where they're at, but I've got enough of the big ones. I'm not real worried about it. So anyway, so I mow all this, mow that up there for the neighbor, and really for me. It's just a nice little area where we can sit in the shade and walk through and play with the dogs, and that's one of my dogs. Anyway, right over there is where we first started. Actually, not first started out. I don't remember if I had the hammock in any of the pictures, but that's where my hammock is. My beehives are right over there somewhere. Anyway, we get a pretty good wash through here. Another muscadine. This one's just a wild muscadine. And I don't know if you know what muscadine is. It's like a wild grape. Got a little thicker skin, a little sweeter than a grape. More pawpaws. Got quite a few fruits off of this one this year. Well, didn't get them off, but it grew a bunch. Like I said, we had a dry winter or a dry spring, and they all died off. This is another one of my bigger sawtooth oaks. Another fig tree. Oh, it's got some figs on it. Cool. So, big sawtooth. Down there I've got some elderberries. Looks like we've got berries on them. Not quite ripe. Come back for those later. Oh, got some good muscadines there. That's exciting. Through a lot of this brush, I've got blackberries. Got a big fig tree here. And it's got some figs. It's not really loaded, but it's got some figs. And back here's the loaded one. And there's my first chestnut tree that I told you about. And that's the end of our tour. There's my beehives. So, I don't know what to do with this one. No birds this year at all. 8-year-old tree. Probably not good sun. Maybe not good water. I don't know. It's not as big as the other one, so maybe it's not getting good water either. I do have it. Like I said, I've got it. I actually have two water spigots or irrigation thingy sprayers on it, and where the other ones only have one, and they're growing. Maybe this just is a weak tree, or probably a lot of the sun. Maybe if I took those 3 trees out, but you know, who knows. So anyway, those are my trees. Oh, I forgot to talk about yeah. Oh yeah, most of my PKQs had catkins last year. A couple of them had them the year before. I guess that's it. Anyway, I guess I'll look at this video next year and see how my trees are going and compare. Talk to you later.